Hello, my friend. In this video, I'm going to show you the 3 steps that any fan must go through to move from a casual listener to a raving loyal fan of your music. It's important whenever you're deciding how you're going to promote your music, any promotional tactics, any strategies that you're going to use to follow this framework very closely because you don't want to skip any steps when developing the artist to fan relationship if you want to build a strong and loyal fan base, whether it's on Spotify or in your music career in general. Also, I should mention that this lesson is part of a free course that I have available that will teach you how to develop a strategy around the Spotify algorithm and actually build a 6 to 12 month release plan using your own music to take advantage of the Spotify algorithm and actually get your music heard when you're releasing music. At the core of that strategy is this fan loyalty triangle, so it's important to really dig your teeth into this. So with that said, let's just jump right into this. So to help you decide which promotional tactics that you should use in your music career, there's something that I want to show you called the fan loyalty triangle. What this is the exact steps that a fan will need to go to when they are starting from a casual listener, someone who's never heard you before, and the exact steps to becoming a loyal, raving fan of your music. And what this is based off of is a concept called the customer journey by a company called Digital Marketer. And what you might find in your travels learning different things about digital marketing is there's quite a few different companies that have riffed on this idea. And that's exactly where this is coming from. I want to give credit where credit's due. But this is a version that you can follow that gives you an idea of the psychological steps that need to happen to turn someone from a listener into an actual fan. So starting at the top of the triangle is the listeners. So you can find potential listeners from places like Facebook, Instagram, and other social media platforms. The idea here is you need to be able to find highly targeted listeners that are going to like your music and actually want to become a fan of yours. You need to be able to find them where they actually are hanging out. And since we're focusing on digital marketing, it's mostly going to be different social media platforms, but it can be places like forums and websites as well. Once you are able to find out where you're going to be able to find these highly targeted listeners, you then need to build trust with those listeners based on what you show them and what you share with them. So generally, this is going to be stuff like your music, but it also can be social media posts, your music links, your ads. And once you've established at least some bare minimum of trust, will you get loyalty in the form of streams, merch sales, and ticket sales. This cycle of finding a listener and then giving them value and building trust is ultimately repeated several times until a true artist-to-fan relationship is built. At that point, you'll have a fan base that means more to you than just streams. But for now, you need to know that getting this sequence of events just right is what you need to do to bring high-quality listeners over to Spotify in the first place to make sure that you can actually trip the algorithm and grow your streams. So now that you know the exact steps that a fan needs to turn from a casual listener to a raving fan, we can then use this fan loyalty triangle to create a checklist of items that we're going to look for when deciding which promotional tactics to use. So starting up at the top, we want to make sure that the promotional tactic that we are using allows for a high amount of targetability. We want to be able to laser target the exact fan that is going to love our music, people that listen to similar artists, similar genres, that kind of thing. In addition to that, we also want to make sure that the promotional tactic that we pick is going to allow us to hit those algorithmic numbers. Going to have a high amount of streams, high amount of save rates, high amount of repeat listen, all that stuff that we mentioned in the previous lesson. In addition to this, we also want the promotional tactic to have some form of retargetability. So when building trust, we mentioned that we need to hit them up with our music links, our social media posts, enough to get them to know who we are as an artist and know who we are as a person so that they actually want to become a fan. In the world of marketing, there is a concept called touch points. And a touch point would be whenever they see an ad, whenever they see a social post, anything like that. And there was actually a study done where it showed that there needs to be at least 8 touch points for someone to turn from a casual person to an actual customer, someone who's going to actually purchase from a brand. So we can apply the exact same marketing psychology to our process of growing our music career to understand that we need to hit up our listeners at least 8 times for them to become a fan. So because of this, we want to be able to retarget our listeners once we find them in the first place so that we can build that trust and build up this relationship. In addition to that, a big component of the Spotify Success Framework is making sure that it's something that we can do while working a day job and having access to limited time and resources. So we also want to make sure that we're picking a promotional tactic that is low cost. And in the same way, we want to make sure that we are picking a promotional tactic that is not too time consuming. Most of us have a job or other things that we'd like to do other than sitting down and promoting our music. So we also want to make sure that the promotional tactic has a low time commitment as well. So after watching this video, you should have a good idea of the 3 steps that any fan is going to need to go through to turn from a casual listener into a raving loyal fan. Starting from where you're actually going to find these people in the first place, how you're going to develop trust so that they actually know, like, and trust you, and then actually when they move over to that loyalty stage, which is where the fun begins, where you're going to get streams, merch sales, all that kind of good stuff. If you'd like to learn more about this topic, for one, this lesson is part of a free course where you can grab that in the link in the description. You can also check out a company called Digital Marketer who kind of laid the groundwork for this whole idea. They've developed something called the Customer Journey Map, so just go ahead and look that up. And then also another really good riff on this topic is done by a really great company called Entrepreneur. They've created something called the Buddy System, which is essentially almost like a fan journey map. I would definitely recommend checking that out and pretty much anything that they have on YouTube and any courses as well if you'd like to learn anything about all this music marketing stuff. So with that said, again, there is that link in the description if you want to get the full course on developing a strategy around Spotify and creating a release plan for your music to succeed on Spotify. Link in the description below, completely free. Other than that, if you found this useful, like and subscribe and all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next video, my friend. Have a good one.